Mr. Sorabji, Headlines Today has been able to get some information.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Abhishek Singhvi is going on.
Okay,
Yes.
So we've been able to get some information of what really happened in that meeting where Mr. Thomas was appointed. Apparently, Sushma Swaraj made it clear that let's wait for a while, do a due diligence, we believe he's tainted, whereas the Prime Minister and the Home Minister insisted that the decision needed to be taken today, leading to the question that is this not a blow for the Prime Minister's personal integrity, sir? Is it not a blow for the PM's own integrity and the image that he has in the public eye?
I don't understand how it's a blow to personal integrity. It may be bad error of judgment. In fact, what I don't understand, I have told the government, why did they persist in court when it became clear that certain files were not before the Prime Minister, were not before the High Powered Committee? But this persistence is something which I don't understand. If it was a fact that these facts were not placed before the High Powered Committee, the Attorney General fairly stated that, then the government should have said, very well, in that case, we didn't apply our mind to relevant facts, depending on the institutional integrity of the person. That's the whole point. The whole thing is, look, what's happened? As far as this incident shows how unnecessarily taking extreme positions and persisting in them leads to these situations. There's no question about it. This was not a mere error. It's a very important aspect which was not considered. And mind you, I may tell you, the Supreme Court has rejected the majority principle, unanimity principle. It says we can't give a veto right to any one person. So Sushma Swaraj dissented, maybe for good reasons, but that doesn't mean the majority can't decide. So no veto right to any person. Let's see it in the proper context. See the judgment as laying down a very important principle that an institution is far more important than an individual. That is a salutary principle laid down, and if that principle was overlooked by the High Powered Committee, it was too bad, and the decision-making process to that extent was faulty, the decision was wrong, as of course.
Okay, Ravi Shankar Prasad, Mr. Sorabji makes the point, at worst it was an error of judgment. It has nothing to do with the personal integrity of the Prime Minister, and Sushma Swaraj and any other leader of the opposition hasn't been given a veto power going forward. So the judgment and the order needs to be looked at in a holistic fashion and not used for political gains.
Well, let me put the entire thing in perspective, particularly the query of Abhishek Manu Singhvi. The Supreme Court has talked about institutional integrity. That is very important. That means in the entire decision-making process, this aspect was not kept in sharp focus. Is it a routine case of a simple Bada Babu or a section officer? For the first time in the history of India in the last 60 years, a high-powered appointment to the hallowed office of CVC has been quashed by the Supreme Court. Is it a small kind of indictment, if I may say so? Because institutional integrity point was not kept in view. Mr. Thomas is not the first CVC appointed by the UPA government. We had also an earlier CVC. There was no problem on that score. You know it very well. There was no difference of opinion. But on the garb of this majority principle, if you insist that we will bring on record a tainted officer against whom a corruption case is pending, it is a serious blow to the question of democratic propriety and good governance. That's the larger issue, whereof my difference with Abhishek Manu Singhvi, that you must understand the true import of this judgment. If institutional integrity is the prime consideration for appointment to the post of CVC, you overlooked that consideration, and in spite of being told, yet you persisted. How would you infer about this? I leave it to the judgment
absolutely.
of your
That's the third talking point for the debate tonight.
We have got the right to highlight it.
And the opposition is raising the question, and Dr. Singhvi must answer it. Why was the government bent on appointing tainted Thomas as CVC? That's the question that will haunt the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. Dr. Singhvi, are there any responses? There were two other people. Sushma Swaraj was prepared to accept both. Why did your government, sir, insist till very recently that Thomas was the best man? What's the answer to that question, sir?
That question has already been asked. It's already been answered. It is because the material available at that time led the committee by a majority of 2-1 to bona fide believe that the appointment of Thomas would not vitiate the institutional integrity of that office. Now, obviously, there was an error in the sense that certain relevant considerations were not seen. If there was no error, there would be no court proceeding and the court would uphold it.
No, but
so
now,
there's no point repeating
but now
what the court has said. But on the other hand, what you are not repeating, 1 minute.